last 2 weeks, we talked a lot about intense leadership principles. Did anyone leave the last 2 weeks and like, oh my gosh, Austin's really intense? I left and I was like, I think I'm too intense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think these people want to be my friend. But
Coach.
I think a coach. Yeah, we're not friends. We're not. I'm your coach. Good. You know. No, okay.
You'll listen.
But I'm looking forward. I got faith for tonight. Thank you for those of you who shared your testimony the last couple of weeks. That was so encouraging. Can we honor them really quick for the It's incredible. I'm gonna do some teaching and some content, but I'm gonna kind of workshop this. And so make sure you guys got your notebooks. Get your notebooks out. Get your pens ready. And I want you to answer this question. What would getting max value, what would getting max value out of the next hour look like? If you left tonight and you were like, wow, I got the most value I possibly could have, what are you saying? All right, now write down the line below, who's in charge of you getting max value out of the next hour? Who owns the responsibility of you getting max value out over the next 60 minutes? All right, someone stand up and tell me if you got the max value out of the next 60 minutes. What would it be? Yes?
I said if I was receiving or being reminded of a crucial principle of faith that I can apply to create positive change in my life for leadership abilities.
Come on, somebody. Let's go.
Come on.
Let's go. All right, what else? Max value. Yes?
Just coming with like a humble heart and being charitable in everything that's presented.
Yeah, absolutely. Humble heart, being charitable. That's great. Yes?
I said a refresh on discipline and leadership and just on life in general and a reset.
It's great. Great job. Yeah, Dylan. Or John.
Understanding how to approach non-believers when bringing the gospel.
Great. I like it.
To be challenged by my abilities.
Challenged by your abilities. Absolutely. That's great. We all live with vision every single day. Someone say vision. Vision. We all have vision every single day. And there is a gap between your vision for a moment, a day, your life, whatever it is, and reality. Someone say reality. We talked about this week 1. What's this called?
The gap.
What's this called?
The gap.
The gaps. The gap. This is the space in between your vision for your life, for your day, for your moment, and present reality. Now, when you don't get what you would like to get out of life, and you're more on this thing, how do you feel in the gap? What are some emotions? Write down some emotions that the gap produces. All right, shout them out. Stress. Disappointment. Frustrating. Uncomfortable. Convicting. Anxiety.
Anger.
Nice and loud. Fear. Doubt. Confusion.
Insecurity.
Insecurity. Drive. Okay, drive. All right, growth mindset. All right. I like it. That's true. What do you say?
Grit.
Grit. Feel grit.
Yeah.
Feel gritty.
Let's get it.
Sadness.
Lack of control.
What?
Lack of control.
Lack of control. Yeah, grief. Right? Anyone have a vision for their life? Anyone been on a date that didn't go the way that you wanted it to go? And anyone leave that date going, you know, what, you guys went on a date?
No.
Jackson's getting really red.
That was Dylan, not me.
But I'm glad that Dylan's in the middle, all right? So, yeah, embarrassment, fear, anxiety, all of these sorts of things. And you are never a victim to your circumstance. That's good. I see you guys going to write that one down. Right, okay, write that down. Remember that one. You're never a victim to your circumstance. You're only a victim to the way that you view your circumstance. You're only a victim to your perspective. Now, does anyone remember the phrase that we had towards the gap in week 1?
Learn to love the gap.
What was it?
Learn to love the gap.
Love the gap. Someone say love. Love. Love the gap. Now, how could you love something that brings fear, that brings anxiety, that brings embarrassment, but that brings grief? How do you learn to love something like that? Raise your hand if you've ever gone through something incredibly hard, and on the other side of it, you now are grateful for it because how much it taught you and grew you. Yeah. By show of hands. That's right, because you have perspective. But most people only live within the perspective of the now. Yeah. And so if you only live within the perspective of the now, you will never get the perspective of the future. And so you have to be thinking in the future. You have to be thinking with vision. You have to have such a powerful vision for your life and for your leadership and for your walk with God and for your relationships that when you're in the gap and you feel fearful, embarrassment, frustration, and grief, it becomes a reframe for what Ellie blurted out, so boldly, by the way, when everyone else was being negative Nellies. She said, the gap, say it again, it produces drive. If you were being chased by a bear, would you be afraid? Yes. Would you also be the most driven you've ever been in your life? Yeah. Of course you would be, because your body responds to fear and anxiety the same way it responds to excitement. Did you know that? Your body actually doesn't know the difference. So where's the difference between anxiety and excitement? Perspective. But where does perspective lie? Where in your body? In your brain. And where does your brain get its information from? Prefrontal cortex. And what's the main thing that tells your prefrontal? Your eyes. And eyes would be related to the word vision. Eyes would be related to the word eyes would be related to the word say it all together. 3, 2, 1. Vision. So what you look at forms your perspective. You ever been with someone on a trip who's incredibly positive? And for the first 10 minutes, you're like, this person sucks. You're like, they are like, oh my gosh, good morning! It's 5 a.m. Let's go to California! You know, and they're like, I can't wait. It's gonna be great. And it's just they're so annoying, you know? They're playing freaking I don't know about you. I'm feeling 22. You're 19, okay? You're 19. And they're just like, everything's perfect. You get like a flat tire, and they're like, oh my gosh, we just gotta romanticize it. It's like, oh, this is amazing. They're making a TikTok, you know what I mean? You're on the phone with AAA, and you're like, I'm gonna need you to bring a new tire and a body bag, all right? It's gotten messy. But 3 hours into that trip, that person is your favorite person in the world because they are so positive that they've changed how you feel. You're like, what? By hour 3 or 4 of the road trip, you're like, this person is the best person in the world, and you're like, I want to be around them 24/7. Now, who's ever been on a trip with a negative Nelly? And everything is a problem. Like, oh my gosh. They didn't have swig. They didn't have swig in Yuma. Like, because there's no Mormons in Yuma, okay? They're all in Utah and in Gilbert. There's not going to be swig in Yuma, Arizona, okay? Like, and there's everything's a complaint, you know what I mean? Like, you're at Disney World or Disneyland, you have like the best time ever, and like, the line is so long. The line. You laugh, but we all know these people. And we have been these people. I have been this person. And the difference between the person... They keep taking videos of me back. What are you doing? Can we do a dance? Oh, okay. And one time Nicole took a video of me doing shenanigans at Nissi, and I got a lot of views on Instagram, so I hope it's a good, the last pastors with props. So it's not your circumstance, it's the way you're viewing your circumstance. And this is biblical. This isn't toxic positivity. This isn't like the power of your mind. It is, but it's not unto self. It's by the power of the Holy Spirit. Write down James chapter 1. Off the top of their head, can anyone just tell me the general vibe of the beginning of James chapter 1?
I can quote.
Quote it, Greg.
Consider it pure joy when you face trials and temptations of many kinds, for the testing of your faith produces perseverance. And let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature in all things, lacking nothing.
Let's go, Greg. Consider it pure joy. Consider it pure joy. How do you consider something? You look at it. Considering something is perspective. It's the way that you view it. And the way that you view it is your vision. It's your vision. It's your vision. It's what you're looking at. This church that we're in is called Fixing. Because the entire mission is to fix your gaze on the Creator, not on you or your problems. When you look at God, you get formed into the likeness of God. And when you look at you and your problems, you get formed into the likeness of you and your problems. Anyone been having the worst day of all time and you're just ready to throw in the towel and move to Bali and throw your phone in a river? And we're sensing a pattern, okay? Someone check his phone for flights to Bali. We're nervous. I can't even spell Bali, so no worries. And then you go and you spend time with God and you're like, the world is amazing. Everything is going to be okay. You know what I mean? You call your mom. You're like, hi, Mom. She's like, is everything okay? You know? You're like, yeah, they just spent time with Jesus. And it's because what you look at, your vision, defines your reality. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials. Someone say trials. Trials. Of many kinds. You want to piss off a Christian when they're complaining about their trial, be like, I totally hear you, that's so amazing. They'd be like, what? You're like, yeah, just let's consider it joy together. You're being insensitive, Brad. You're like, yeah, maybe, but like also view it differently. This is a positive thing. And sometimes you have it internally, and sometimes you need a brother and sister in the faith to hit you upside the head and be like, this is good for you. This is trial. This is growth. This is where the development in sanctification, where you become more like Christ, happens. Because if you got everything that you wanted with your vision, with no gap, you'd be like a spoiled, rotten brat who like inherited a trust fund and never learned to work, or like, does anyone get spanked growing up? Anyone spanked? Yeah. Like, I got beat, okay? Like, I know this, for those on YouTube, I'm not like beat, like, you know what I mean? There was resistance. There was trial. I grew up in a pretty, pennies were tight. 9 siblings, dad was a pastor, God was providing. But like, if I wanted new basketball shoes, I had to pay for it. If I wanted something, I had to wait for it until Christmas. And what that produced in me was something that I watched all of my friends who just got whatever they want as a kid. Parents are like, I'm watching like a lot of my friends get married, and they're like, I just want like a great job so I can give my kids all that they want. And I was like, you don't want that. Those people turn out horrible. You do not want to give your kid whatever they want. Like, trust me, I got like negative things that I wanted. You know what I mean? It's like, and 9 siblings. All right, I got like, I didn't get the basketball shoes for Christmas and 9 siblings. It's like, the good news, it'd be really hard to be homeless. You know what I mean? I'd have to have like a lot of phone calls to be like, well, can you take me in? Can you? But it's here in the gap where you become the kind of person that God is turning you into and wants you to be. And who's ever gotten to the vision? You had a vision for your life and you arrived. You accomplished. Yeah, you made it. You made it. What happens when you get to that vision?
New one.
You're on to the next gap! And your reality becomes your new vision. And so you need to relate deeply. Hear me, guys. This is very important. You have to relate deeply to your vision, and it has to be internal. It has to be internal. There is something inside of me that's freaking driving me every single day to the will of God for my life. And sometimes I feel like a maniac. And I'm like, I just want to work so hard. I feel like a development junkie. I'm like, how can I be better? How can I run 100 miles? How can I make this amount of money? How can I plant 100 camps in 5 years in 5 countries? People are like, what 5 countries? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know how to spell countries. But we're going to... And there's something in... And it's because I've spent so much time looking at the vision. But to see the future vision, you have to stop seeing the present reality. You have to look at it from a different perspective. Where does perspective come from? Prayer. Prayer. Perspective comes from prayer. How you start to see in the spiritual realm of what God has is you begin to attune to His frequencies. How do you attune to His frequencies? You turn off Drake and you turn on worship music. I'm dead serious. You turn off Drake and you turn on worship music. You stop complaining about your problems to your roommate and you start praying silently to God about it in your closet. I'm serious. People don't become positive, happy, people on accident. It takes formation in the gap. And you're all young adults. You will be defined by how you function in the gap. But leadership at Nissi is just not what I thought it was going to be. Welcome to the gap. Like school just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. Welcome to the gap. All of these things are good for you. And I asked you in the beginning, how can you get max value out of the next hour? And you all wrote it down. And then I asked a second question, which was, who's responsible of you getting max value out of the next hour? What did you guys write down? You wrote down me?
A little bit. Like half and half.
Half and half?
Yeah.
You're like a bullet point.
That's fair. I'm like a bullet point. That's fair, right? Of course. But, are you a victim to being here right now?
No.
Like, you had full agency to be here. And you made a decision to be here based on who you know me to be over the last 2 weeks and last semester. Okay, great. So you made full agency. So it is responsible, but you can have a pretty good guess that like good things are going to happen generally today.
Yeah.
So then like whose full agency is it to get max value out of the next hour? 1,000,000%. And even Jackson, if I was just like speaking garbage up here and you were getting no value, and you were like, I still want to get max value and what that means for me in the next hour of my life, what could you do?
So change our perspective.
You could change his perspective, sure. Be like, wow, I'm going to learn. I'm going to take really good notes on what not to do.
Yeah.
I'm serious. That's anyone learn from a leader what not to do? That's so valuable. Some of you are learning it right now. Okay, you're like, don't do that. What else could you do?
I mean, just try hard to get something out of what you're learning. Like, I don't know.
Sure. What else could you do?
I don't know. Just continue to be open-minded.
Yeah, but there's what else could you do? You have extreme agency over your life. You're not a victim to this moment. Not like what?
Oh, you could leave.
Yeah, you could leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, at any point, you all have free agency to stand up and walk out of that door. Okay? I'm serious. You do. You can do whatever you want at any time. Now, how I or the church or the law deal with that, is a different story. But you have complete agency. You're not a victim to anything. You're not in a relationship you don't like. You don't have to be there. You're not in a class you don't like. You don't have to be there. You're not in a financial situation you don't like. You don't have to be there. You are not a victim to anything in your life but the way that you are viewing it. Is the horse dead? No, not yet. Just keep killing the horse. One of your greatest abilities in leadership will be your ability to own your own life. Now, I'm not saying do whatever you want. Of course, it needs to be influenced by the Bible and the Holy Spirit and wise counsel in your life. But how many of you are blaming God on the decisions you're making in your life? And then some of you have become victims to God's will. Well, just God has me here. God has me in a season of singleness. God has me suffering financially. God has me in a dry season. God's not speaking to me. But every time someone said those words to me, and I just asked one more question, which is, how is your time with the Lord then? How many hours per week are you working? How many jobs have you gone on to LinkedIn to apply to? Oh, you don't have a LinkedIn? How many people have you texted that you're looking for a job? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the level of agency of which you have to take it. And if you don't live with that level of agency, you will spend your life pointing at everyone and anything else and being like, they're responsible for what's happening in my life. And this will kill you. This will kill you. This will keep you a little boy and a little girl. I'm serious. The weight of responsibility that you accept in your life is equal to the level of maturity and growth that you will have. We talked about this last week or the week before. Everyone knows a 20-year-old who seems like a 30-year-old because they work 3 jobs, they pay for school, they're in a healthy relationship, and they work out in the gym every day. And they spend an hour with God. And you're like, dude, you're a 30-year-old male. You know what I mean? And everyone's been a 30-year-old where you're like, bro, you kind of have a job, you know what I mean? They're always like a creative director of some like clothing brand that they made up, you know? You're like, bro, that's not a job. You're like, yeah, I just am motivated by freedom, you know? I'm like, and being broke, you know? But you're not a victim, and at any point in time, you can start making a different decision with your life. Some of you are carrying stories from your past. Some of you are carrying stories from your past. And the traumatic moment, and your therapist or your best friend or yourself, maybe your pastor, has given you the room to blame your current circumstances on a moment that happened to you. And you use that moment as the buffer in the gap to keep you from here. And I am not saying necessarily what you need to do with that right now. What you need to hear me say is become curious about that. Start to ask yourself, does that thing serve me in the thing that God has me for my life? It has for my life. Or is the way I'm relating to that thing that happened to me? Do you get what I'm saying? Here was a meme that we didn't play last week. But
That's amazing.
someone say, go live. Go live. We'll talk about this week 1, but I want to go more in depth. This is going to be values that we'll talk about all year long at Nissi and probably for the rest of my leadership. Go live stands for growth, ownership, love, integrity, vision, and energy. Someone say growth. Growth. Growth is submission that leads to positive and impactful change. There's a growth mindset, a fixed mindset, and a false growth mindset. A growth mindset, a fixed mindset, and a false growth mindset. A growth mindset says, I could be wrong at any time about anything in my life, and I'm willing to have an open mind about the gap and grow towards the true thing. Okay? It's a growth mindset. A fixed mindset says, nope, this is what is true. My way or the highway. It's like this. And a false growth mindset is you thinking that you have a growth mindset, but when it comes time to change, you don't change because you're like, no, I don't need to change, I'm right. So you've given yourself the psychological satisfaction of changing or being the kind of person who changes, but when the opportunity comes to change, do you actually change? This is like a trick that Christians play on themselves in repentance. They say to God, I'm sorry, but they don't live sorry. And so they think they're living a repentant life, and they think their mind plays a trick on them. They think that they're confessing sin, but they're not being free from anything because they're not actually growing the other way towards God's will for their life. And so take a moment and write down what mindset you think that you're currently in. Overall, we all fall into one of the categories in different times in our life, but overall, would you say you have a growth mindset, a fixed mindset, or a false growth mindset? All right. Now, want to feel something super meta? Raise your hand if you wrote down that you have a growth mindset. That was great. That's great. Nice and high. Nice and high. You don't have to be embarrassed. That's great. To have a growth mindset means you're always considering that you could be wrong. How quickly did you write down, I have a growth mindset? You know what I mean? So the joke goes like this. Hey, Jackson, ask me if I have a growth mindset.
Do you have a growth mindset?
As far as I know. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. As far as I know, it becomes that meta. I actually don't, maybe, and I'm willing to test it. This is the pressure of constant evaluation. Write that down. Constant evaluation. To grow to the vision that God has given you for your life, it may require constant evaluation of how you are. When I was running 10 half marathons in 10 days, I was constantly evaluating everything. Okay, so I passed out on day 3. It's because my diet. I have to up my calories. I can't feel my knees when I'm running. I need to ice both of my knees before my run and after my run. Okay, I am not sweating enough when I'm running. I need to drink way more water and electrolytes. Okay, I can't even get, you know what I'm saying? It's this, I could barely run today and it's only day 4. I have 6 more days of 13.1 every day, I have to stretch when I'm done running. I can't get away. So it's a constant evaluation. And when you're actually going after your vision, the gap will hurt more and more and more and more and more. And I'm not saying life is all like death and pain. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you will feel the gap when your vision is big enough for your life. And you will, the only way to grow will be constant evaluation. Now, this constant evaluation, the way you could view it, can lead to shame. It can lead to self-hatred. It can lead to self-harm. It can lead to horrible eating disorders and mental health issues and all of these sorts of things. And that, of course, is not what I'm advocating. What I'm advocating is that you allow yourself to be evaluated by God and His Holy Spirit and those around you in the areas that you need to grow, and become extremely honest with yourself in the ownership that you're taking about how you're relating to the gap. And also be extremely honest with yourself about what you want and what you don't want. Because if you don't actually want the thing that you said you wanted for the vision, then you don't have to love the gap. You can just be in the gap. You can be the person on the way to Disneyland who complains because the lines are long when you get there. And it's too hot, it's too cold, you know what I mean? Like, you can be that person, or you can choose to be under constant evaluation. Now, if you ever get married, but you haven't put yourself under constant evaluation, you are going to be under constant evaluation by someone else. And then they're going to make you aware of all of your ish. And then they will become the enemy of highlighting it because you've never learned to highlight it for yourself. Do you get what I'm saying? All right, stand up. All right, Owen, get up here, bro. All right, you guys know the drill. Make some space.
Wait, where's Riley? We got this. Let's go clear up.
All right, get ready to make the move. Grab a idea from classmates, pick something. We're gonna be screaming, we're gonna be yelling, moving around. If you don't have enough room, make room. Punch someone if you need to. Don't actually. But, all right, get ready. 1, 2, 3, go!
Responsibility and agency for one's life. If you care deeply about someone and the trajectory of their life, you'll care about the amount of responsibility they are bringing into their life. If you care about others, you'll care about their ownership. Everyone write down in your notes the name of someone in your life that doesn't take any ownership for their life. They're a victim to everyone and everything. They're a victim to their past, their present, and their future. And nothing's ever been their fault. There's also this principle in leadership that we all need to be aware of, and it's called being objective. Someone say being objective. If Owen came up here and led that moment, I'm not evaluating Owen's character. I'm evaluating the way that Owen led that moment. I'm being extremely objective. Do you know what I'm saying? And I have to view Owen objectively so that I can give him feedback about that leadership moment in the future for his growth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Now, there's two sorts of things. I could be like, hey, Owen, you could change this for next time. And he could go, but you just called me up last minute. You didn't give me any directions, you just threw me right into it. And I'd be like, totally. That doesn't change, like, objectively what you need to do better next time to lead the room. Does that make sense? So I think sometimes we're afraid to write down the name of the person or like even think about people objectively because we're afraid of like, well, then that means that I think that they're a bad person or that they're not a good Christian or whatever. But you just need to learn as a leader to objectively think about situations and about people. Some of you are incredibly emotional beings, naturally, and that's a superpower. You relate to people emotionally, you're empathetic, you're an empath, you know, like you care more about others than they care about you, you know. It's your toxic trait, I just care too much, you know, like that's you. And I'm not saying you should not care a lot, I'm saying that sometimes you need to learn to be objective. Okay, so did everyone write down a name of someone in their life who does not take ownership for that in their life? And have you ever cared so much about them that you decided to have a conversation with them about it?
Yeah.
How did it go? Right, because they don't take any ownership. That's like the whole thing. That's like the whole thing, right? And so the leaders who can help other people take extreme ownership for their lives are the people who can take extreme ownership for their own lives. Seriously. There's a level of confidence and conviction that I can have as I teach all of you these principles because the level of constant evaluation I put myself under. And do you hear the language like differentiation, right? Like receive all the love that God has for you and put yourself under constant evaluation. Those can feel at odds, but they're actually not. Because it's only once you fully receive God's love for you that the evaluation of you doesn't define your character, but it's just like a part of your sanctification process. Does that make sense? Okay. There is this invisible power called blame. And this is putting the responsibility that belongs on yourself on something or someone else. I'll give you an example of a time where I silently gave blame a week ago. It was Tuesday, and MJ had been doing a great job setting up communications with this guy who wanted to come and film like a worship documentary thing. And I wasn't really aware that it was that day because I wasn't looking at my emails closely. And she was like, that morning she's like, all right, 4 p.m., be here. I was like, great, I'll be here at 3:30. Well, I took a nap starting at 2:50 or like 2:45, and I did not get here at 4 o'clock. I got here at 4:15, and I was like blaming in my head why I was 15 minutes late on how tired I was and how bad I said that. You know what I mean? I'm giving myself the excuse for taking the nap when I probably knew when I went to go to sleep that like that nap was not going to turn into me being on time. And so there's a level of ownership that I have, but in my head, I want psychological safety. I don't want to take responsibility for making this guy wait 15 minutes and not keeping my commitment. I want to feel good about myself. So what do? I did not blame it out loud to Caleb or MJ. I didn't say, oh, it's so tired. And I think Caleb even made a joke about it. He was like, 4 o'clock, huh? You know? I'm like, oh, it's not the consequences of my own actions, you know? And I showed up at 4:15, and I'm not blaming out loud, but I'm blaming in my heart and in my head. And I had a decision in that moment to be like, no, that's my fault. I should not have taken a nap. I should have gotten more sleep. I shouldn't have been up till 1 a.m. You know what I mean? All of these sorts of things. This is blame. The responsibility that belongs on yourself, on something, or someone else. While facts make us feel better, not all facts are useful for helping us improve our lives. This is the great seduction of blame. It lures us into truths that don't help us advance in our lives while ignoring the truths that will. I have a vision for my life to be extremely developed to be the person that I want to be. And I want to be someone who's on time. I have a vision of someone who does everything with excellence. So when I see the gap in that, how I relate to it and what I let my brain do will define whether I'm going closer back to reality or closer to my vision. So quick write down a list of things that you are currently blaming your life circumstance on. Your physical fitness, your health, your finances, your grades. Oh, I'm like bad at school. So that's why I don't go to class. But being bad at school has nothing to do with attending class. Yeah, Riley, did you have a question? No. Oh. Okay. Yeah.
I just got a question on when you're leading someone and when they're struggling with something.
Yeah.
How do you help them, besides like praying for them and bringing it to God, how do you help them take ownership when they can't take it for themselves?
It's really good. How do you help someone take ownership for something when when they're not taking ownership, and you want to help them?
And it's like they want help, but they're not willing to receive it.
Yeah, then they don't actually want it. They say they want it. I'm in this place all the time, right? I want to be the kind of person who's on time, but when it's time to be on time, what do I want? Comfort. I want to snooze. I want to. And so if you can find out what you want by what you suffer for. You can find out what you want by what you suffer for. So there's a gift in relationship, and it's called framing. Someone say framing. So it goes like this. Hey, do you know that I really care about you? I really do. And I'm going to be honest, I feel scared to say the things I feel like I'm supposed to say to you out of authentic care for you, because I'm afraid of the way that you might respond to me and think that I'm attacking you or judging you. So before I say what I know I need to say, can you just nod your head and let me know that I care about you and that this is coming from a place of even kind of like anxious and fearful care for you? Sweet. I think that you don't take any responsibility for the things in your life, and you're blaming your circumstances on other people. And I think that if you were to change that, you would be a lot happier. Does any of that resonate? Do you see that? That's framing the conversation. Anything else could I be more helpful in?
Yeah, even after you frame it that way though.
Yeah.
You still don't want to take ownership for the actions and the things that they're doing and what's causing these horrible things to happen in their life from their perspective.
Yeah.
Because from my perspective, I don't think it's horrible, but from their perspective, they can think about it all the time. I don't know how to help them.
Yeah.
Other than praying.
Yeah.
But they seek the, I feel like it's more of like they seek attention.
Yeah, they want affirmation in their emotions. They don't actually want help.
Yes.
Yeah, be very careful about these kinds of people. And by these kinds of people, I mean me all the time. It's like, geez, judgy much, Austin? This is me all the time. I don't want to get out of the gap towards my vision. I just want to stay in the heart of the gap. And you're not hearing me. Just validate my emotions. Like, well, your emotions suck because your vision sucks. I'm serious. Like, that is the thing. Your emotions suck because your vision sucks. You don't suck. You can suck less if you evaluate, take extreme ownership for your life. And the people who actually want growth in their life, you know what they do? They go, okay, totally. What do you hear me blaming stuff on? The people who just want psychological safety, they don't ask a further follow-up question. So. Thank you. Yes, great question. Yeah, what are some of the things that you guys wrote down that you're blaming your life on? Just blurt it out. Yeah. What else? Finances. But what are you blaming your financial situation on?
I just like, I don't have the money right now. Like, I feel like that's always an excuse to me. Like,
Yeah.
somebody will say, hey, let's go do something. Like, oh, I don't have the money right now. Like,
Sure.
but I don't know if that would be on lack of, like,
Well, I think that's a true statement, right? Hey, let's go get dinner. I can't afford that right now.
yeah.
But some of you are using language about yourself like, I'm busy, I'm broke, I'm just a broke college student, I'm just fill in the blank. That's blame. The reason that you're broke is because you don't have a job. Or you have a job, but it's not paying enough. Or whatever it is. And extreme ownership would say, if I want to be the kind of person who can go out with my friends and do those sorts of things, then I will work X amount of hours. Yes.
How do you find a job when you don't know what your dreams and passions are?
You forsake your dreams and passions to make money. No, this is good. This is really good. Hey, by the way, I forgot to tell us a new rule. Everyone say new rule. New rule. New rule. New rule. New. I wish we had a jingle. New rule. I don't know. But Reagan, you gotta meet new rule. Yeah, next week jingle. All right. New rule. The first to tell on themselves wins. And so she just told on herself. That's great. The first person to tell on themselves wins. When you hear something, you go, oh, I'm not doing that. Now, I'm not saying you all have to blurt it out at once, but what I'm saying is that, like, this power of, like, what you did is you're right now advocating for your growth at the sake of your psychological safety. Because everyone's going to go, oh, da-da-da, you know? But that's because they're not looking at themselves. So let's keep going. Ask the question that you asked again.
How do you find a job when you don't know what your dreams and passions are?
Yeah, you just get a job to make money and you forsake your dreams and passions.
But it's like, I was kind of like looking at like, what, do I work at like Walmart or Target? Would you be a stalker? Like, I don't want to do that the rest of my life, you know what I mean?
That's a season.
Do you think that doing a job for some time will be doing a job for all of time? Yeah, just stay curious. What? Just be honest. Yeah, what do you think?
No, I don't think.
Okay.
This is a bit of a temporary thing. I just don't know what I want to do in life. And I feel like everybody's figuring out what they want to do.
Sure.
And I just don't like, everybody says, what do you want to do when you're older? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what like my dreams and passions are in life.
Sure.
It's nice to get married, but like, that's about it.
Sure. And all the women said, yes, God. Can I have your permission to ask a few follow-up questions? Are you sure? Okay, you can tap out at any time. Okay. Can I make a really honest observation? Over the last 3 weeks, I've noticed a verbal pattern in your life, which is 3 words, and they are, I don't know. And I think that you do know. Do you think that you know? So explore that. And I'm saying curious. I'm not putting a moral, I'm just saying explore with me. Why might you catch yourself in a pattern saying, I don't know?
See, I want to say I don't know, but like.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Hey, give it up for her. She just told on herself. That's great. You win. Let's just stay curious with that. Like, I'm honestly curious. I'm not coming in with any kind of like moral right. I'm genuinely, we're in a sandbox and we're playing with the sand and we're building a castle, and if by the end of this it all washes away, it's just cool. We're just playing sandbox. So take a guess. What might be a reason that you've been saying I don't know when you do know?
You want me to answer?
Yeah.
I think it probably comes from not believing
When was the last time you did something and it made you come alive?
I feel like MJ and I were talking about this, and I think facilities at the old Nissi chapel.
Great. What was a moment during doing facilities at the old Nissi chapel that made you come alive?
I just feel like I like serving and not being seen for what I'm doing, instead
Sure.
of like being seen for the things that I'm doing. Does that make sense?
Why don't you like being seen?
See, I want to say the words, but I'm not going to. I don't know.
Try.
You're really making my brain think.
How do you feel when someone, how do you feel right now? Everyone's looking at you.
I feel like the spotlight's on me, and it's like kind of like,
Yeah. What is the worst thing that could happen from this moment right now? Everyone's seeing you.
I think I just overthink like I'm gonna mess up on like even when I shared something earlier, I like told him I was like I just messed up like everything I just said, like I was stumbling over my words, and I think I just like think about what are other people gonna think of like I don't know, I think it's like a
Yeah.
just like worrying about like what other people are gonna think.
Yeah. When was the last time someone saw you mess up, judged you for it, and you felt horrible about it?
I feel like I can't pinpoint, like, I mean, I feel like I probably mess up. I know I mess up a lot, but like, I wouldn't say I know like an exact point. It's like, I know, you know, like people can judge all they want, but like,
Sure.
they can also judge behind like closed doors, and you might not know that. Like, I could have done something and somebody was like, oh, why did you do that, you know? And I wouldn't have known, so I don't really know what the last time was.
Sure. When you were standing up and giving that testimony, what were you looking at?
You? Wait, no, because you were sitting MJ?
Sure. Where was your focus?
Probably on like not messing up and then I messed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't think about a blue elephant. So, just stay curious with that. Notice patterns in your life and let other people notice patterns in your life, and then stay curious. I wonder why Leah says, I don't know, after every other sentence. It seems like Leah does know. You're incredibly courageous. I'm observing that courage and confidence are two different things. You were courageous to stand up, and you're being courageous right now. But confidence comes from within. And I think within is a wonderful woman of God who knows the purposes of God for her life and doesn't need external validation from your ministry outlet, from Walmart or Target, from your career, from your bank account, or from the wonderful man of God sitting right next to you. And can I share something with you? It would be the greatest gift in the world in your next step of relationship with Micah if you released him of that. Needing to validate anything inside of you. And that level of agency for what you do know and who you are, and you starting to say it with your chest, will change your whole life. Really proud of you. Great work. Give it up for Leah. So, Leah, what would it look like to take extreme ownership, one step this week, in taking extreme ownership in your finances? what winter job would make you absolutely ecstatic?
Something with people, I think.
It's great.
Or just like labor work, not talking to people, so I don't.
Micah, you are going to have a really easy life. I'm like, oh, whatever. Okay. So, identify a vision of what the ideal is. And then take the next step to that thing. Looking for a job is not a step. What's a real step?
Getting a job?
No, there's another language thing that's actually a commitment. If you were to make a commitment to me right now, by next week, you were gonna do this thing. And you're like, I'm gonna look for a job this week. I'm like, that's not good enough. Upgrade your commitment. What would it be?
Apply for a job. Apply yourself. No.
Just notice, in a moment of an I don't know, you did know, and then you whispered to Micah. So just notice that, and just, is that in the matching of your vision for who you want to be and who you know you can be? What do you think? Is that in the vision?
What whispering him?
I mean, yeah, I'm not saying I'm saying in a moment of you having to answer something, subjecting and saying, safety is here, not here. So what would be a powerful commitment that you could make to me in this entire room about what you're going to do by next Tuesday?
I think that's not good. Work on not saying I don't know. Or
Yep.
just like
So work on it. Yeah, it's great. That'd be a great commitment, specifically about your finances. That would be a good first step, because there's something in you about the I don't know that's keeping you from getting a job or even applying for a job.
I think I've just become so comfortable in what I'm doing, like in this like on-campus job that like I know I can get at least minimum wage, that I don't really know what like the future, like what a real job is going to look like, and like maybe the real world. And I think I have fear knowing like it's coming so soon.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be in college much longer.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I think it's also like a comparison thing that like all my friends have these
Yes.
either higher paying jobs and
Yes.
got them easily or are networking, and I just don't know where to start.
Sure.
And like I was looking on LinkedIn the other day and I'm like, none of these jobs are me.
Sure. Did you apply for any of them?
No, because like, do I want to work at a Walmart off like that me home? I don't like.
Yeah. That's totally good.
I'm like, I don't know like half of these jobs that like are available, and so I just like don't know where to start, and I just feel stuck.
You do know where to start, but you're not letting yourself, because I'm making an observation. Multiple times you've said, everyone else. Who's everyone else? Raise your hand if you know what your career is going to be. Okay, flex. I was like less than 50% of the room. Okay, now raise your hand if you're like Leah and you have no idea what the next 2 years of your life looks like. So who's everyone else? But notice blame, and I hope everyone's not looking at Leah. I hope you're looking at yourself. Notice just how sneaky blame is. But everyone else is like this. But Indian school is so sketchy. But, right? But I couldn't possibly work at Chick-fil-A because it's fast food, and I don't like fast food. And all of these little blames that has kept you from taking a powerful action, which is applying for a job. That's the powerful action that you could take this week. Is you could apply for 5 jobs. But what if they don't get back to me? Let's stay curious. That's kind of exciting. But what if they do? I told someone to their face that I'm fundraising $400,000. And then he said to me, "For it up to me, I wouldn't give you any money at all." He said, "But it's up to God, so I'll pray about it." I said, "Fair enough." Very calmly as my heart rate was going like this. And I'm excited to see what comes of it. And when he very abruptly said, "Yeah, tell me to ask and get to it as quickly as possible," I could have stuttered and said, "I don't know, and I don't really need that much help, and I just want your advice, and you just sit on our board." "No, I need $400,000. Well, by when? As soon as possible. For what? And I tell him exactly for what. For why? My vision. And when you're super clear on your vision and on your what, then comes the time to apply for the job or make the ask or whatever it is, and there's an internal confidence because of where you've been looking. And I think that you've been looking at everyone and everything else around you, which has been the operating system for blame that's kept you from applying for a job, or kept you from taking ownership of your finances, or kept you in a minimum wage job at your school that maybe is making you more miserable. Let's give it up for Leah one more time. You guys got 10 more minutes in you?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. Don't punch anything, but make your move. On the hook or off the hook? I think that's Owen. Owen. Flat top, that's iconic. That's iconic. Someone say on the hook? On the hook. Off the hook. Off the hook. We think we're being kind by letting people off the hook in their life. "Hey, it's fine, no worries at all." Instead of letting them know how it actually affected you and keeping them accountable for their actions. I need to be kept on the hook instead. Thanks, Ben.
That was nice.
I need to be kept on the hook. You guys need to be kept on the hook. We all do. And we're actually loving people when we help them take ownership for their lives. When I let someone off the hook, what I'm really saying is I don't care about your growth. If you've noticed the attendance in this room, it's probably 10 to 15 less people than last week. And last week was a few less than week 1. I believe all of you committed to be here every single week of ministry school, whether you're serving with Nissi or not, or another part of ministry, because that was the commitment. Do you get what I'm saying? And so if we never keep you accountable or keep you on the hook for that, you might think that MJ or Jackson or myself or whoever you get a text from is being mean or being unreasonable or not being empathetic towards your life situation. And when you get a text about where you were last week that you missed or next week, etc., and you say, "I just had a lot of homework," you're blaming your lack of keeping your commitment on an external thing that you had control over. Does this make sense? And I wish that more people kept me on the hook in college. but my giftedness was shiny and bright and loud and had impact apart from discipline. So then in adulthood, I've had to learn a lot of hard lessons about discipline and about keeping my commitments and about integrity and these sorts of things. And so at Nissi, we're committed to caring about one another's growth, aren't we? If you're committed to creating a culture of ownership, you're going to have to get comfortable inviting people, including yourself, to put themselves on the hook. Is empowered language versus disempowered language? Yes or no, I can, I get to, I choose to, I will or will not, I don't know, so I'll find out. Versus maybe, I can, I have to, I should, I'll try, I don't know, so I'll stop. Learn to look for your own will, your own power that you have always had but has been buried beneath blame. When you do this, you exercise agency or choice. When you blame others or circumstances, you admit you are powerless to change and that you have no will. Where have you been placing blame on, not on others and not on circumstances, but on God? Someone say fierce advocacy. Fierce advocacy. This definition of love I really like because it lets someone know that I am here to fiercely advocate for you. I'm advocating for your growth. I'm advocating for your ownership. I'm advocating for you to grow up. I'm advocating for you to be the best you that you can. Now here's the problem is you can't coach someone to a vision they don't have for themselves. And so many of us sign up for commitments in our life, but we don't actually have a vision of completing those commitments. We have a vision of keeping those commitments 80% of the time, and the 20% of the time we don't keep the commitments, we'll accept the grace and just be off the hook and not expect anyone to have hard conversations with us. But love says, I'm going to fiercely advocate for you in this. This is truly wanting more for others than from others. How can I become better by helping you be better? Me developing all of you guys and being responsible for this Nissi Ministry School has set a new self-development standard. So helping you actually also, in turn, helps me. All of this together. Wanting from someone or something, it's mostly about you. It's about what you want only, and when they don't comply, we get resentful. We build an adversarial relationship. We tear down, we give feedback to hurt, calling people out. We're clear on our vision only. It wouldn't be fair of me if I only wanted something from you in Nissi leadership or ministry leadership. I would just be preaching my own vision. But I advocate for all of you to become clear on your own vision, so that if serving at Nissi or having a job on campus or whatever doesn't fit your ultimate vision, then I'm going to advocate for you to take the right steps to get out of that. Wanting for someone or something. It's mostly about them. It includes what they want. When they don't comply, we get curious. We build an advocating relationship, lifts up, gives feedback to help, calling people forward. We help them get clear on their vision. Someone say integrity. Integrity. Integrity is doing what you said you'll do 100% of the time, and being who you say that you are 100% of the time. Now raise your hand if you do what you said you're going to do 100% of the time. That might be true. Greg is about as integrous as they come. But none of us else are raising our hand because we are often out of integrity, doing what we do 100% of the time. So it's less about actually keeping it 100% of the time, and it's more about becoming the kind of person who could keep it 100% of the time. And when we look at this definition of integrity, we say, I want to be an integrous person, so what do we do about our commitments? We say, I can't keep that commitment, so I'm going to release that commitment. I'm going to lower everyone's expectations of me so I can just be in integrity to myself and just do the things that I said that I'm going to do, and it's not actually really much at all. So the goal is not to just take a moment to write what is one area of your life, personally or professionally, where you are out of integrity. If you're in school and you're not going to class, you signed up for a class. Go to class. I heard that being nonchalant is out and being chalant is so in. So be someone who really, really cares about the things in your life, like classes and your finances and your relationships and your work and your health, your physical fitness, your attendance, your participation, your ownership. Don't let your commitments fall to your character. Let your character rise to your commitments. Some of you need to make large commitments in your life to become the kind of person to complete them. This is what I did when I posted on Instagram for all of the people to see that I was going to run 10 half marathons in 10 days. I probably would not have done that without making that large public commitment. And then because everyone was with me on the journey, I had the job to become the kind of person who could keep that commitment. Yes, Micah?
So you're saying you should commit to things that you believe beyond your capacity?
1000%. Commit to things that will make you redline in your capacity so that you can actually find out where your line is. And become the kind of person who can operate at the next level. Because guess what? Lord willing, one day, you got wife, you got a job, you got a mortgage, and you got niños.
Hey, Spanish.
Niños. Unos, dos, tres, and maybe cuatro. Or maybe if you're the Rockos, 10. So as Rockos un loco. So your capacity keeps going up, and be the kind of person that rises to that. Does that make sense? Yeah, follow up.
Just follow up. What's the balance between that and committing yourself to things that you believe beyond your capacity and truly like overcommitting yourself? Because I know in the past you talked about feeling like you've overcommitted and that's taken away from time of the Lord and Sabbath and
Yeah.
those things. And so what's the balance between those two things?
Yeah, I think staying sensitive to the Lord with that, but I think that men especially should push themselves really hard. See what you're capable of. Don't answer the question, what can I do perfectly 100% of the time? Answer this question, what am I capable of? Yeah.
How do you find the balance between finding where you're striving and where it's others holding you accountable, like for that? Like, how do you find that balance?
Striving is a heart posture. It's not a work ethic or amount of effort put in.
Would you recommend that train of thinking when you're committing this? Like, would you recommend committing to something that you know is beyond your character if those commitments affect other people? Because I know, like, for your commitment, like, you were committing in front of others, but it only affected yourself if you ran those marathons versus, like, would you recommend having that mindset when people are depending on those commitments to follow through?
That's a great question. That's a really good question. What do you think?
I think that maybe it's like a baseline of growing your character, you make it personal first, and once you see your character rise into those commitments, now you're a person who can be depended on.
Yeah. Have you ever made a commitment and let someone down that was counting on you? How did you deal with that?
That's when I apologize, and then I guess I follow through the next time.
Yeah, you apologize and follow through the next time. Would you have become the kind of person who has to own not keeping your commitment and it affecting other people if you didn't ever make a commitment that you couldn't keep perfectly to your character?
No. Wait, yeah, no.
Right. So, In Nissi leadership specifically, it's not about you keeping your commitment 100% of the time, every single Tuesday perfectly. It's about when you fail your commitment, who you are in owning it, and then correcting it in the future. And not blaming it on other things. And in that owning it, you will become the kind of person who can be trusted with more and more and more and more and more. Does this make sense? Okay, good. The power of a commitment, plus being led by someone who fiercely advocates for your growth, plus someone who wants more for you than from you, equals the place you want to be as a young leader. The power of a commitment, being led by someone who fiercely advocates for your growth, plus someone who wants more for you than from you, equals the place that you want to be as a young leader. In Nissi, I've been tempted to just kind of go away with the commitment and be like, all right, we're just going to have 6 students or 7 students who are super committed and super trustworthy. I'll just have them sign a leadership commitment, and everyone else can just kind of generally attend. And if they want to come early to serve, they can. But I'm kind of tired of asking people to make a commitment because of how much I have to do this, and how people respond when you have conversations with them to do this. And that is not wanting more for you than from you. That's wanting something from you and me just wanting my life to be easy as a leader. But leadership is not the path of least resistance. It's actually the path of most resistance. That's why you're the leader. If leadership isn't hard, what are you leading? And what impact are you actually having? And so look for people who ask you to make a strong commitment. You would never get into a relationship and someone's like, is it cool if I just go on dates with other people while we're dating? You would never do that. Why? The power of a commitment. Because you want that person to be. So, why do we resent people in our lives who are fiercely advocating for our growth? It's hard. It begs the question, do we really want to grow? And if you don't, there will be no one left in your life who is around you who's advocating for your growth. Vision. We must constantly be looking forward. There is what we see, and then the awareness of what we do not yet see. Upgrade your vision, and upgrade your life, and the lives of everyone around you. We've talked about this before, but vision, I believe, is faith. Hebrews 11, James 1. Is all you're having faith for just for you? Do you dare to have vision for your life for others? Yeah.
Super quick. When you're talking about matching your vision, how do you, because when that guy was asking, you were asking for money.
Yeah.
You're matching your vision to your ministry.
Yeah.
Are you talking about general vision in our lives? Are you talking about vision in ministry? Are you talking about vision in career? All of it?
Yeah, I think it's all of it. It's what I see in the future. It's confidence for what I do not yet see, but have belief that God wants to do.
And how do you choose it?
How do you create your vision?
Yeah.
I think step number 1, and I'm not Jesus juking you, is prayer. I genuinely think that praying and asking God, what do you have for my life, will give you a vision. And here's the deal, is if that vision you get for your life from God in prayer is something that you can accomplish in your own power, I would say that you are just saying, what can I accomplish, not what can God accomplish.
Yeah.
And most people only have vision for their life that affects them, which is selfishness. And it's blindness to the world around them. When you come into leadership every Tuesday at Nissi or wherever you lead, and you have vision for how leadership affects you, how good of a leader are you going to be? But if you show up having faith and vision for how God can use you to affect the people around you, you will live that entire night of leadership entirely selfless, focused on others, having vision for what God wants to do in their lives, that you'll find that actually God does something miraculous in your own. You're upgrading your vision to affect more people. Leah, what would happen to your vision for your finances if you thought not about what you needed to make, but you thought about what you were capable of giving away? Think about that for a moment. What would happen to the way that you apply for jobs this week if you reframed not how much money do I need to make, but how much money am I capable of making and then giving away?
Like I was like giving away to like time and like that type of giving. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, generosity, people around you. Saving up for your future. Do you see the reframe of vision? So it starts with God, what do you have for my life? And then God, what do you have for the lives of those around me? And then God, where are you drawing my heart? I was in Atlanta this weekend getting trained to become an executive coach. What you guys watched me do with Leah, a lot of that is curious question asking, observation, poking holes, guiding people to self-exploration for the answer that probably is within them. And for Christians, we know that that's the power of the Holy Spirit. He reminds us of all truth. So I was doing that, and I was drawn to, there was a 22-year-old and a 25-year-old in this executive coach, and everyone else was adults. And I was drawn to the 22-year-old and 25-year-old to talk to them about their development and about their life. That's a grace from God. So I think that it's like prayer, it's what God's graced you for, right? Like Paul said, I have a specific grace from God to preach to the Gentiles. And so it's like prayer, it's what God's graced you with. And then it's what excites you. Your vision isn't necessarily supposed to be this like, I can accomplish this thing. Your vision is like, this is going to move me to powerful action. So the amount of money that we're trying to raise at Camp Love this year is $5 million. And I've been writing in my journal every day, God, Jireh, please provide $5 million for Camp Love. And I don't even believe it when I'm writing it. I'm like that's going to happen, you know? I'm like having negative faith, but not actually because I'm writing it. And then one morning, I was like, whoa. And thank you, God, for the year that $5 million is our annual budget. And so now I'm going, the way I'm relating to $5 million is completely different because of the way I'm seeing the annual budget for Camp Love in the future. Don't hear me, this is not name it and claim it Christianity. I'm not saying like, you think it, vision, you can do it. I'm saying that like there is a spiritual reality that God wants us to, in faith, see for our lives and for the lives of those around us. And then your brain will treat that faith and vision like a missile targeting system. And then subconsciously, your brain will tell your body to take the right steps to accomplish that vision, to get to that thing. So, yeah. Is that helpful? So great. Yeah, Micah?
You said, think about the question, what are you capable of?
Yeah.
I was just curious, when you have an idea in your head of, I'm capable of this,
Yeah.
but I'm going to try to commit myself outside of what I think I'm capable of,
Yeah.
to see growth.
Yeah.
Do you practically go about that by going for a super lofty goal and say like, I think I'm capable of this, but I'm going to commit myself to double that? Or do you go about it as more of a gradual growth process and say like, I think I'm capable of X amount, but I'm going to go 10% higher, and then we reach that 10% higher than that in gradual growth, or just kind of shoot something?
Yeah, there is, I forget exactly the language for it, but there is like this invisible shield of reality that like, if I was like, I'm gonna raise $100 billion by tomorrow, and I have vision for it. You're like, okay, we'll have all the vision you want, that's not gonna happen. So that's outside of my like reality scope. $5 million is that would be insane if we do that this year. I believe it can happen, and that vision and faith that I have is causing me to take all of the steps that I've been scared to take in the work of fundraising when my vision was just like an abstract number. Do you know what I mean? So it's all about how you relate to it. But there's 4 teams that you're on. There's the team that you work for, there's the team that you work with, there's the team that works for you if you're a boss anywhere or a manager, and then there's the team that works on you. And so, Leah, when I was asking you those questions, was your vision for your life and what's possible this week expanded?
Yes.
Yeah, and so even what we think is what we're capable of sometimes takes an outside force just to ask the right questions to help give us perspective. I'll make this one point, talk about energy, and I know it's late, so I want to let everyone go, but there are 2 core beliefs I have that drive a lot of what I do. And I think this is true about a lot of us, or it can become true. The first is that I can always get better. I can always improve. The second is that I'm currently doing something to get in my own way of that. And I probably don't know what that is. I may know, and I just need to have the discipline to fix that, but I'm currently doing something to get in my own way, and often it takes an outside perspective to help me find that. And to answer the question of what I'm capable of, Micah, you have to answer the question, what are we capable of? Because I could not go and fundraise $5 million by myself. But because I have that vision, that faith, I start to see people around me as my team and say, well, what are we capable of? Riley had a vision to see her 3 friends go to Camp Love. So what did she do? She said, not what am I capable of, but what are we capable of? And then it happened. And God provided, and her 3 friends are coming to camp, and it's going to be awesome. And so the last one is energy. And energy is emotional fuel that moves people to action. Energy is emotional fuel that moves people to action. Many of you may be relating to your energy like you are a victim to it. Like your energy comes from sleep or energy drinks or how your day's going or whatever. Hey, how are you doing today? I'm busy. Hey, how are you doing today? I'm tired. How are you doing today? I'm fill in the blank. There's emotional fuel that moves people to action. And so relating to those emotions and how it moves you is your energy. Has anyone fasted and by hour 9 of the fast you feel like you could run a marathon? Try it. And has anyone eaten Thanksgiving meal and stuffed yourself and you're like, I need 18 naps? So energy does not come from what you eat or don't eat. I mean, of course, in some sense it does, and also your sleep, which regulate your emotions. But energy is emotional fuel that moves you to action. And that is the end of Nissi Ministry School Week 3.